A very, very good evening to everyone out there in the CM0102 universe. Fifey here for your midweek Superliga action. And today, well, if one devil is not enough for you, then you've got double trouble because Hodgie is with me tonight. How are you, pal?
I'm good, mate. Very good. Glad to be with you
Very,
and
very glad to have you.
excited for tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's always good having you on. Always entertaining having you on as well. And you come on with your side sat top of the league and comfortably
Yeah,
top of the league. It has to be said at the moment.
yeah. I mean, we've still only had one standout game. We just tend to, as you can see, with goal difference there. It's sort of 2-1 pretty much every game.
Yep.
We give Devil not Devils, we are Devils. We give Gazelles a bit of a going over, and obviously I guess give us a little bit of a going over, and then other than that, it just tends to be 2-1, 2-1 to the Devils.
2-1 to the Devils. The new 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Yeah.
Um, as we look at the league table, is there anyone? We are at the halfway point now. Is there anyone who's surprised you, whether in a positive or negative fashion?
Um, Maybe Sloths a little bit. I think they've it's kind of recently really they've recently dropped off a little bit. They're always, especially at this time of the season, usually always in the six and looking pretty good. So I think Rob will be looking for a bit of improvement. But then you say that, and they're only six points off top six, so it's still very tight. And in the top six again, you can pick out Tatos. He's doing well to be in there, but then is he? He's a good manager. He's proven that now. So is it a surprise that they're in the six? I don't know.
So at the halfway point, I presume if I was to ask you, you would say that you'd like to think you would make it from this point to at least the top six. So I've scrolled the league down. We can see second to 14th. Out of the teams currently second to sixth, how many of those do you expect to keep their place in another 13 games' time?
I, Second, third, and fourth, you would imagine get in there.
Okay.
Um, just maybe more historical than anything. I think all three of them have pretty much always been there in this iteration. Dudley and Astor are the two I'd maybe be looking at who are under a little bit of pressure to stay in there.
Okay.
And then, like you say, you look down there, and any of them they can put a run together. I remember Churchtown a few years ago. I think they put six. I was reading one of your old season review things,
I
and
like
they
that
put
people
six
still
wins.
go back through the blogs to find the
Yeah,
old season stuff.
yeah. It was the season that Greasy won it, and I think they won 5 or 6
Oh, no
games
one
on a
wants to remember
bounce.
that year, mate.
Nah, that was shit year, wasn't it? It was shit year,
It
really.
was a
Wasn't it?
shit year, wasn't it?
It was literally Greaves' anti-football against me, who had a nice little run at end of season. It's literally,
Greavesy, who didn't win a game for about 15 games and still somehow shithoused his way to a star.
yeah, yeah. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Indeed. Good evening to everyone in the chat. I can see Steve is desperately trying to apologise for a slight error in the graphics. Steve, I'll stick up for you and I'll take a certain level of the blame. I was quite late sending the figures over to you, so you did the best you could with the time allowed, I am sure. Although Mr. Duggan is correct, it would never have happened on his watch. And I can see that Rob wants us to get into a game nice and early because he's struggling with the amount of lager he has already consumed. So, obviously, Ghost Games permitting, we've got Astor Devils on last, which really pleases Tato because he's got this conspiracy that Astor always on late anyway. So, with you on comms, he's on last. And Jens has asked for his game to be quite late as well. So, we'll look to keep Hall's Bostock as late as possible. Other than that, is there anywhere you'd like to start particularly, or just let the game decide?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's get Rob on.
Get Rob
'Cause I
on.
imagine he's pretty close to being booted out by Mrs. Sloth because he's been drinking since about 5 this afternoon. So let's get him on. Let's get his game seen, and then he can do as he pleases.
Let's start then. Sloths are away to Fulchester. And we have to obviously mention as well as we go along, we have had a little mid-season transfer window, which a lot of teams took full full time in, well, they took no time at all really in changing up their squads where allowed. And we see Sloths have instantly thrown 2 new players into the lineup with Joe Cole and Kaluzhny starting in this interesting sort of Tato-esque formation, I would say.
Yeah, it's a different one. Different one. Kalishny's a good signing. He's one of them players who falls out with everybody, but if you can keep him happy, sort of from now till end of the season, he'll be a great signing for them. I had a little look at him myself, and I don't know if he's bringing a troublemaker in, but if you're 13th and you're sort of trying to climb up, then he's a great signing. Joe Cole, it's not one I'm particularly keen on at Super League, but he's playing in a position that I've not seen him playing, so this could be his chance to cement maybe himself a starting spot in an unusual role for Sloths.
And as interesting as, we're still saying at the halfway point the league is quite tight, whether it's at the top or looking for the playoff spots. You already mentioned Sloths are arguably the team that's disappointed you a little bit. They currently find themselves 5 points off bottom, but 6 points from the dotted line. So there's still plenty for them to play for, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, if you just put a run together, which they're capable of, because that's why I've been a little bit disappointed with them because of what they've done previously. We've all seen it. They can batter teams. I mean, look at that 5-1. Who does that to Fulchester? So it's in fact they've won. How many have they won?
That was the famous Poulsen hat-trick game.
Yeah, is he playing tonight? Was he out on the right?
No, he's not even in the first team squad anymore. But they have got a equal head-to-head record. Sloths have won the last 2 games, though, as we can see there. Let's have a look at the Fulchester team as we just assign the new players some numbers. Fulchester have also been in the market this week, made a couple of additions. Melito comes in for his debut at centre-back, and Andrei Shevchenko is now playing up front for Fulchester. Is he the answer to their constantly changing striker problems?
Well, I thought Ronaldo was. I thought he was. What's happened to him?
He's moved back to AM again.
Yeah, I thought he was doing quite well there. But I suppose with how they had Nedved and Giggs, 2 left players, so Cash won in to get a centre forward. Shevchenko, I mean, the name's there, isn't it? He's a big player. Is he going to do it? I don't know. I'm not so sure. He's struggled everywhere he's been, so maybe the past says that no, I don't think he is.
And both managers already in the chat. So Rob said that Fulchester are going to win 4-0, whereas Macca, who slated the Sloths formation, has now said, bet we get fucking bummed again by these peasants. So I'm looking forward to this one as a starting point. What's your score prediction, please?
I can't remember what I went. It's one, but I'm going to go for 2-2.
2-2. Okay, well, let's kick off the first game of the night. Alf going 2-1 Sloths, Tato saying 1-1, and there is Shearer making it 1-0 on 12 minutes to Sloths. Fulchester coming forward now, looking for an equaliser, and there is Veron with that equaliser on the half-hour mark. I'm just trying to keep an eye on the chat as well, because all I've seen is Greavesy and someone being pulled off. Valgarin, the former Fulchester star, has scored his first goal for Sloths to give them the lead again. And, well, that won't please Macca at all. And Ndai, with his first ever goal, makes it 3-1 to Sloths. Macca already calling for a rage quit as the half-time whistle goes. And David Dwight is overseeing a potential shock here at half-time as Fulchester find themselves 3-1 down to Sloths. Macca already calling out ex-player bullshit. Ryan pointing out they're both ex-Fulchester. What did you make to that first half, Hodgie?
They're back out there. The entertainers are back. But yeah, I wouldn't. It's been a good first half. A bit like that one last night. Leeds and Villa 3-1 half time. Somebody called that out actually today. The Valgarin goal. I don't know who it was, but somebody said that he'd score. I don't think it would Maka sort of being a bit of a defeatist. I think somebody actually genuinely said he's going to score tonight against his old team. So, but yeah, entertaining. Colchester got a score early, I think.
They have indeed. Let's have a look. Buffon, not really endearing himself in front of the home fans there. The skipper getting a 5 rating. And the attacking players, Costa, Ronaldo, and Shevchenko, just not excelling to the usual Fulchester standards. Now, they're known for pulling off a striker at half time. Can you see Shevchenko on his debut getting pulled?
I wouldn't. Well, for Venegard wrestling, I don't think. Just give him a game. He's going to need. He's going to need 3 or 4 games. I think. Give him 3 or 4 90 minutes, and then if he still ain't done out, then fair enough. But giving him 45 minutes here, you need goals. You've signed him. You believe he's going to score goals for you. Give him 90 minutes, see what he can do.
Well, both the manager and director of football are here, so we'll wait for an instant decision. In the meantime, Sloth, who's both drunk and celebrating, is looking at a largely fine selection of stats. Although, considering the attacking intent we saw in that first half, perhaps surprised to see Mantora's rating so low.
Yeah, they've not had much ball. I feel if you look at them passes, all very low.
Very few passes.
Yeah, I think they're just oofing it through and about. Useful Garen's just oofing it, and everyone's just running after it like a bunch of 7-year-olds. And Colchester are just panicking a little bit, and Spartak are just banging it in 3 times.
Well, I can see both managers are saying as is. Maka calling out Buffon, saying he does this every year, just crumbles for about 8 games. Unsurprising that Rob says keep as is. Let's kick off the second half and see if Fulchester can make a game of this, or if Sloths could even perhaps run away. It was Fulchester with a chance or 2 there, but still failing to convert. Can they cause some late drama perhaps? We move into 81 minutes. The second half's gone by very quickly here. But there is a goal. And it is Shevchenko on his debut. And do we have that late drama we were asking for? There's going to be 4 minutes added on as Fulchester continue to come forward. Sloths maintain a bit of ball, Babayaro, but he puts it over. Goal kick. We move into those 4 minutes of injury time. Absolutely nothing happening, but maybe one last chance. Shevchenko, he has! In injury time on his debut. Shevchenko off the post. And we have the equaliser. And there is the full-time whistle. Just as Maka says, nah, bollocks, bye. Shevchenko did equalise in the 93rd minute off the post. And a very entertaining and even game ends in a very entertaining 3-3 draw, Hodgie.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming, to be fair. I thought they'd have to score maybe a little bit earlier than that. But just looking at that, tackles, 46%. Rob's not going to be happy with that. I fear for the
Rob's definitely not household. Happy. Rob's definitely not. In the chat. All I can see is honestly fuck off, and Ryan is doing full Daniel Bryan for the wrestling fans, or Daniel Bryanson, or whatever he goes by now, with just lots of yeses.
I think he's Brian Danielson.
Is he Brian Danielson now? His actual real name?
Yeah. Is that what it is?
Apparently so, yes. As far as I understand. Anyway, let's not talk about wrestling. Let's talk about the Super League, and what a game to kick off. And really a game of 2 halves. Shevchenko proving his worth and what a good solid transfer can do for you.
Yeah, they've really picked up their second half. I think when the dust has settled, Maka and Ryan are going to look at that and probably think we've gained a point, whereas Sloths have lost 2, I think.
Maka's still going with fuck the players. He's still not happy that it's only a point.
He's never happy, is he?
He's a perfectionist, isn't he?
Yeah, he's never happy. I'd call him just go more than misery.
Whereas the word from the Sloths camp, so far the word from the Sloths camp is literally fuck off, wank, absolute wank.
Yeah, I think Rob, it'd be best for probably everybody if Rob and I went to bed and just slept them beers off and moved on to Sunday.
Move on to Sunday indeed. But yeah, on the Fulchester performance, ultimately it turned out very well. Shevchenko will certainly be the name on the lips of the fans, although Buffon is being called out by his manager for an awful performance. Didn't really improve in that second half. But apart from that, all of the players, Melito obviously on his debut as well, impressing. To an extent, to as much as a defender can when they concede 3 goals, but it does look it was more Buffon's fault than a collective team effort. Let's have a look at the Sloth stats. Again, Mantoras failing to have any sort of impact, but other than that, it was a fairly decent performance by them as well.
Yeah, it's been a good game. I think Montoris is a funny one. What is he? Is he in FC? Yeah, striker centre. He's out of position, isn't he? And he's. I think you're really, really good players. You can play out of position and get stuff out of them. But I think you're sort of your next level down, or maybe level below that with Montoris is they've got to be in their prime position. I think to be at this level to be getting what you want out of them.
And Mr. Marshall is now blaming Ian Campbell for letting Shevchenko go for this result. Let's move on to game number 2. And it's taken us to quite an interesting looking game with Northern Burn, who haven't been in the best of form, losing their last 2 games, travelled to a Dragon side who are much improved this year. Burn, who added Medina and Guerrero during this week's transfer window. Guerrero does make the starting team. Medina, I think he's just seen as a backup player. He doesn't even make the squad. We can see a son was dropped to the bench as Ian resorts to a more familiar-looking tactic. And Totti takes the armband back after Vieira failed to inspire the side last time out.
Yeah, Guerrero on a 93 could be a bit of an interesting one to keep an eye on. But what I would say is they are on a bit of a dodgy patch of form, but it's a nice time to do it. If they can get their sort of losing run out of the way now, and then settle back down and be sort of on that couple of wins, draw, couple of wins sort of run.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want to do. How many times have you seen sides? I mean, I remember a few years ago, I think Sloss, when Greaves won it, I think people were right saying after about game 18, Sloss are in the 6th, it's sorted, and then they dropped out.
Yep.
So I don't think it's a bad time to have a bad run of form. They've obviously just got to turn it round, start winning again, or it's not a bad run of form and it's maybe reality. But they got a good side.
Can we just talk about the head-to-head record when you consider that in this iteration of the Super League, Northern Burn throughout have been considered one hell of a squad. Dragons have got one hell of a record.
Yeah, it's just a bogey team, isn't it? I think.
They are.
I mean, they had the year they got to the final, so they could have won then 2 maybe, I don't know, and then they had a playoff game. So
Dragons, despite all their issues, I was just gonna say, despite all their issues, Dragons unbeaten in 5 against Burn.
Yeah, well, I don't think Dragons have got that many issues. I think they've got a really good side. Maybe they're a side that's underachieving a little bit this season, but again, that's only looking at the league position. They're not far off. Are they? A few wins straight in there. Be an interesting one.
Well, let's have a look at. Oh, hang on, nearly got that horribly wrong. Ian doesn't like any player having 13. So we'll go 31.
Yeah, it's 13 off. He don't like 31. It's 13 reversed as well. I think he hates that actually worse.
Does he actually? Well, okay. Well, we'll just go 40 just in case.
And he doesn't like 40 because he's 40. Honestly, he was really funny about turning 40. Wasn't he? Remember?
He's having 40 and nothing else. As for Dragons, they again made use of the transfer window. They managed to bring in Ekiog, Carew, Raul. They also got Gallardo on loan to, I think, really improve their squad. They keep the same tactic as last time out. Raul does get a place in the starting lineup, as does Ekiog. There is a major absentee, though, with Edgar David suspended for this one.
Yeah, I think they've done really good business, to be fair. Ugo Ekiog, absolutely class. I think just because he's Ugo Ekiog and he sort of never sort of really got to them heights, we sort of disregard him a little bit, but it was brilliant for me at Leddersford. As you can see, he carried that on.
Yep.
Yeah, I like him. Raul, obviously, big name player, sort of brings a lot to the club because of who he is, his stature. Yeah, they've done good business. I like that by Dragons. Shame they've still got Zidane centre in midfield, isn't it? It is.
Gallardo and Carew both do get places on the bench as well. Last time out, they had the draw with Bostock Stanley, where I thought they were quite unfortunate because if you remember back, the commentary on the red card suggested Dragons probably should have had a penalty and their performance deserved a win anyway. So they're not in bad form going into this one when you consider that.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know really know where you got that from. He's obviously just come out of his box and's been carrying on, and he's just been sent off.
What, in-game play? He just wandered out of his
No,
penalty
it was a.
area.
They'd already give the free kick, I think.
Let's go to prediction. Oh yeah, they got loads of new squad numbers. Hang on. Let's go to predictions then. Can you see Burn improving their form here, or will Dragons continue to be the bogey side?
I don't think there's a great deal in it on paper. I think Dragons Burn on a little bit of a tough run. I go 2-1 Dragons.
2-1 to Dragons. Okay, lovely. And I can see Alf is first in with his prediction saying 1-1, Martin saying 2-2, Greasy saying 0-0. So lots of draws being predicted in the chat. Let's kick this one off as nothing happens in the first 17 minutes. Both sides then have an attempt each. Not a lot happening though, really, as we're already at the half-hour mark, but Burn coming forward and potentially looking the most likely. Claims for penalty not given. Burn continues to come forward. We're into injury time, and there is the half-time whistle. A lot quicker and a lot less entertaining than the first game, unfortunately. And Dragons creating absolutely nothing. Burn creating plenty, but not getting anything on target. What do you make of that, Hodgie?
Yeah, like a bit like a first round of a boxing match. Sort of felt like they were feeling each other out a little bit. Burn are going to be disappointed to have 5 and not hit the target. But again, it's all context, isn't it? Where are them 5 from?
Well,
Who are they
let's have a
from?
look at Burn first then and see if we can gauge that. The attempt's going to, well, you've got Robin having one of them, you've got the left wing back having one of them, so you imagine that's from distance. Totti, who's playing in a sort of more reduced position than you might expect him, so that could quite easily be from distance as well. And then Sigalko having the other 2.
Yeah, he's going to be disappointed there, isn't he?
Definitely.
They're the
Although
guys you want.
he's already going as is in the chat, not wasting any time was Ian. Let's have a look at the Dragons to see what's going on there. And the man who's come back in, Lazens, in recent weeks, he is the star man today so far, rating a 9 at half time, having won 6 out of 10 tackles. And winning his one header that he's gone for. You mentioned Ekiog. He's, both the new guys really. Going to take a little bit of time to settle into their new squads, not overly impressing thus far.
Yeah, I wouldn't be judging yet, but
we saw that after Shevchenko in the last game.
Yeah. I don't think either manager's going to panic here. I imagine they'll both just roll as they are, and hopefully we get a little bit more entertainment goal-wise second half.
No, absolutely agree with you there. There is a double change, however, for Dragons at half-time to try and alter the flow. So we've got Baumer coming off at half-time for Gallardo. And Carew is coming on for Clivert. Bit of a surprise, that second one?
Yeah, the first one is, to be fair. I know Baumer's on a yellow card, but he's streets ahead of Gallardo on the left-hand side. But yeah, obviously, by changing it, they're having to go out. They're trying something different. They're trying to win the game.
Absolutely. Let's see if that does have an effect. Another claim for a penalty for Burn and another one not given, but Sigalko this time does convert on 47 and give Burn the lead. And what did Dragons have to get back into this? Lucio picks up a yellow card. And I can see Carew and Zidane and starting to see the names that Dragons would want to see. Jamie pointing out that they created 0, that's why he's changed it up. And then a shitload of time went past without anything happening. Raul having a go though, free kick given. It's going to be 2 minutes added on. Gattuso with a free kick. And now crossing from the left and now from the right. Crosses raining in from Dragons. But they fail to land on Carew's head and in the net. Another free kick as we head into injury time. And Zidane. Sigalko, the text says there, is winning everything in the air today. And there is the full-time whistle. Bogey team no more. Losing run no more. Northern Burn win 1-0 away at Dragons, who still created nothing in the entire game.
Yeah, they're going to be disappointed with that.
That's awful.
Yeah, it is. They still managed to be offside 14 times. They did get a shot and go.
They seem to get plenty of the text commentary suggests there were plenty of crosses going in. It's just they weren't getting any attempts on the end of them.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's an hard one to take in it because you can't take anything from it, can you? But you get beat sometimes. You think, well, at least we created chances, or you might get beat. Your keeper's being shit, and you can say, well, we sort of thrown it away for us. But yeah, when you're not even having a go, you can't complain that you've not won.
And Alf pointed out at half time, and it remained the case in the second half, that Dragons got absolutely bullied in the air, only winning 37% of their headers. Let's have a look at the home team first. Somehow, despite losing, they've still ended up with man of the match, which has happened quite a few times this season. I mean, individually, it was a quite a good performance by Lezans, to be fair to him. And all in all, it's not an awful performance. It's just the overall stats look really bad because individually they've done their jobs to an extent, but they've just not had any attempts to score any goals.
Yeah, it's a tough one to take, really. Who is this Lesens guy? I think I've heard of him.
He was a signing from outside the league from Kaiser Chiefs.
All right.
Starts the game at CSKA.
All right. Yeah, I don't know who he is. But yeah, he's had a good game, put himself about. I think he's sort of just been doing two men's work in there because the guy at the side of him's not had a great game, and he sort of stood out for that and got man of the match. I think that's what it is.
Absolutely. But all in all, you can try and find the positives in individual performances, but if you don't create chances, you're not going to score goals. On the other side, Northern Burn, just very solid ratings throughout.
Yeah, he'll be delighted to see that after last few weeks. 7s, 8s, and 9 in there, clean sheet, centre forward, back on the goals, and yeah, he'll be delighted. Nothing much else to say.
No, completely agree. Congratulations to Ian, commiserations to Jamie. And that brings us to Locomotive Boston against Haggis Hunters. And Haggis, who there was quite a bit of talk, they've done a fair bit of business this week themselves, including Giggs coming in, Palermo in on loan as well among the deals. And they've changed their tactic up to this. And it's it's caused a bit of conversation, particularly today, I've noticed. What do you think?
I'm not a fan, to be fair. I thought the Giggs deal was a strange one as well because he had Ashley Cole already.
Yep.
I don't know if he maybe forgot that when he got Giggs. I thought, yeah, Giggs is a good player, I'll have him. And so I'm fucking hell, how am I going to get both these in? I know what I'll do. I'll put a left wing back, an AML, and I'll just do a big fuck off arrow all the way up the pitch. It might work. It looks stupid, do it? But it might work. One at the back away, interesting. what it is, Walter Samuel. I would imagine him to come out with a good rating today.
But also Yap Stam on the bench as well.
Yeah, but he's. I think his main man is Samuel. He was delighted when he got him in from Bern. I think if he's picking one, he's going Samuel. A little bit younger as well. I know a lot of people sort of don't like players when they start getting over 31. So maybe Ian's a little bit like that.
I know the feeling.
You're still young. How old are you now?
How old am I? I turned 32 a couple of weeks ago.
Nice. You're all right. You're younger than Yap Stam.
Well, if that's my reason to be cheerful that I'm younger than Yap Stam, I might see if Ian could have a word with the guys and get that on a t-shirt for me. Hey, I'm younger than Yap Stam. Let's have a look then at Loco and what they're doing this evening. Number 11 wasn't available for gigs. Never mind. Comandini in on loan in amongst their business. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. D'Alessandro and Rio Ferdinand and Roberto Carlos all coming in. Interestingly, their signing from outside the league this year is the man who's dropped to the reserves because they had one player too many. Greasy struggling a little bit for this one, as you'll know, with the ever absent Mpenza, that Montella remains injured, Zambrotta also injured, and Klompe suspended means the centre backs get broken up, but Ferdinand should be a more than able deputy, should he not?
Yeah, I mean, as a rival manager, it's nice to see that them injuries are still red and not orange. So that's nice. But yeah, I think a change of scenery will do Ferdinand world of good. I imagine we will see the Rio Ferdinand that we all know and expect at Loco. I think sometimes some players just struggle at a club, and no matter what you do, it's not going to work. You're best just shifting them on, forgetting about them.
No,
So
absolutely.
I think we'll see a good Ferdinand here. I like Carlos is a good signing. Patillo does a job for him. Yeah, it's an interesting one. This, I think I'm going to go Boston because of the silly formation, but it's a close one, man for man.
No, completely agree. Let's just have a look at the past meetings between the two. Loco have been dominant. Only one Haggis win. No Haggis wins in this iteration. 3 draws. And let's not forget this one either, a romping 6-0 win, which included Martin Reusser picking up 2 goals in that game. I mean, we've got Kesman, who's now a devil. We've got Ronaldo at Fulchester. Amar, who's also a devil now.
Yeah, that's a bad one. I forgot about that one. I do. You show it. I remember Martin Royce because he had a nice little run, didn't he? He played really well for about 3 or 4 games in that title running for him.
And you said you're going for a Loco win in this one.
Yeah, I just think the formation's a little bit out there.
Rio Ferdinand coming straight in and getting the armband because obviously Barthez has left the club as part of the deal. Remember, which I thought was a huge move.
Who's his goalkeeper tonight? Then I didn't realise that. Right.
With Stefan Kloss on the bench. And there is the first goal, and it's Mendieta for Haggis on half an hour to give the away side the lead. But Comandini on his debut levels things up on 37 minutes, and Figo with a chance. But Rosicky it is, off the post. Another goal in off the post tonight, and it's Haggis now 2-1 up. Greavesy pointing out in the 6-0 win that Royce got 3 assists in that game. But let's talk about the here and the now. And it's 2-1 to the away side after Rosicky scores just before half-time. Loco scoring with their only shot on target. It's not been a great first half, but Haggis certainly the better of the sides and deserving to lead.
Yeah, he's going to be delighted with that. He's accountable. Like you say, yeah, sort of the numbers are down. Passes completed, tackles won, headers won. They're a lot lower than I think both managers would be after, especially Greaves' standards. But yeah, Ian's going to be delighted with that. 2-1 away from home. It's a side he's never beat. And he'll admit itself, it's not an orthodox formation. I know I called it a silly formation, but it is a roll of the dice because we've never seen it before.
Let's so Peruzzi, as we said, is in goal now for Loco. Ferdinand getting his token 6. as fans of Gazelles will remember from his entire time there, it seemed. Greavesy just putting FFS in the chat. Figo not really doing much either. Comandini though, and Carlos impressing on their debuts. Lawson continues to be a very Greavesy player, as does Petit in the middle of the pitch. Greavesy is going Seedorf for Figo. Do you agree with that substitution?
I'm not key. I've been banging on. Play Figo up front. Good up front. He's decent. Shit everywhere else. I'll give him a go. But nobody listens. Seedorf, I've had him a few times. He just doesn't do anything. So it's not a bad substitution, but it's not a good one.
It's just a bit meh, is it?
Yeah, I don't rate either of them. Doesn't matter whoever you've got.
As for Haggis, looking at their debutants here, Ryan Giggs not really doing much, but probably slightly more effective, although not overly involved. Evening Jens, you haven't missed your game. We did keep it as requested, but you haven't missed too much either. So good for you on that one. Do you think Haggis need to change it up at this point?
No, I'd leave it. I'd stay as is. Ryan Giggs isn't playing particularly well, but Thomas Rosicky, who's playing in the same role, is. So it's not totally down to the formation because Rosicky's doing a performance.
The loan signing, Martin Palermo is coming on at half-time. Alan Smith being pulled, and you were given an assessment on Figo there. Ryan's pointed out Figo won 2 Super Leagues at AMC, but he can't remember who he won those awards with. I don't know if you can recall that.
Stefan Effenberg's won a fucking Super League. I mean, he's anything.
We've kicked off the second half and we're approaching the hour already. It's Loco who started slightly the better, but not managing to equalise as of yet. Haggis now starting to play their way back into the game again. Steve Wright questioning whether it was Haller is the answer to that question. And then 12 minutes go by with nothing happening. We'll slow it down though for the last few minutes to see if we get some more late drama. There's going to be 2 minutes added on to this one, says Tony Brown. And we're into the first of those minutes. And here come Loco. It's Roberto Carlos. And it's a penalty!
Oh.
And scores from the spot. We've got another injury time equaliser. Wow. I mean, without looking at the stats, I'm going to say Haggis robbed there.
Yeah, it felt that way, didn't it?
Wow. Let's have a look. Before we get into the stats, let's have a look at what happened. So Roberto Carlos brought it forward. He floated it into the near post. Samuel, who you were talking about in the build-up, backed into Donati. And that seems soft to me. He just backed into him.
Yeah, that's an horrible way to drop 2 points.
Ian is not going to be happy when he sees that. Let's have a look at the match test. I mean, a fairly even game overall. So possibly a draw deserved. Although Boston, 2 attempts on target, 2 goals.
Yeah, he's looking at the tackles and the headers from Haggis. Pretty low again by Greavesy standards. They're low. It's just seemed maybe a bit of a scrappy game. Maybe a draw's a fair result. I don't know. Or maybe Haggis has been actually done by that. It's a funny one. They've had more shots. They've had more on target. But I just look at that. If you're only winning just over half your tackles, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a funny one. I can't really call that.
Let's have a look at the individual player ratings then. Petit picking up man of the match for a very good performance. Roberto Carlos definitely impressing on his debut. Ferdinand's rating improved a little bit in the second half. D'Alessandro as well. He was involved without overly shining. Seedorf certainly had more of an impact on the game than Figo did. All in all, a decent all-round performance. Even Peruzzi, I know he conceded 2, but it wasn't a terrible performance by him either.
Yeah, I don't think it does even any good though, does it, a draw?
No.
I think they wanted 3 points, and especially against teams around them, it just they both just seemed to stall in mid-table after this one, I think.
As for Haggis, as we click over, Ryan Giggs, the big disappointment of the night, really, with his overall performance. I mean, when can you recall a time he attempted 28 passes and only completed 9 of them?
Yeah, that's like 30%, isn't it? Yeah, that's poor.
That is poor. Palermo coming on, he didn't have much involvement, didn't even get a shot on goal himself. Although a lot of the attempts, if you notice there, Ashley Cole and Ryan Giggs having 4 between them, so a lot of the shots coming from wide.
I think they're just crosses. They're just
Just
going
crosses
nowhere.
that went wrong.
Yeah, sure.
The
Yeah, I think
defensive unit as usual. Sorry, carry on.
Palermo's a 2001 player. Never really rated him on this one.
Okay. Unsurprisingly, as is usually the Haggis way, the defensive unit doing quite well and rating accordingly. But as you say, probably a result that doesn't do much for either club, but it's certainly better than losing this fixture. So I hope both managers can take whatever positives they can from this. But yes, a very soft penalty, earning Loco the point. We definitely don't want Asta v Devils. So I've seen Jens is here now. So let's go to Halls at home to Bostock. Collins is playing for about his 7th different club this season, as he was signed as part of the transfer window. What else did Halls do? They brought in Didier Agat as well during the window. And this is how they line up, with something that's not too dissimilar to what my Devils used to play. What do you make of this 11? And do you think the Collins, Ricardinho, Brozek trio will finally unlock Crespo's actual ability?
Well, he had a really good game last week, didn't he? So I think
Did?
Jens will be he'll be sort of crossing everything that's the start of a little run for him. 3 AMCs, I've played it a lot. Does it work? I'm not
Worked
so
for me.
sure if it's. Yeah, but you had a bloody good scene, didn't you? That's why I took it on. That's why. He's fucking better than everybody else.
Just
Everybody says it
remember that
every year.
Mido scored for that team in the final.
Yeah, Mido scored 4 in 4 for me last season, so maybe Mido's been
Mido's a
a little
great
bit
player that
underrated.
no one's
Yeah,
taken a hit on, and I don't know why. I've even tried pimping him out for you, but no one was biting.
yeah. Should we carry on talking about Devils, or should we talk about these?
Well, that's really what you're here for. I mean, it's just a shame for us that we have to talk about the other teams, because really we could just wax lyrical for an hour and a half about Devils.
Yeah, we could, but wouldn't be fair, would it? So
No, it wouldn't.
we'll get back to it. No, I think yeah, if you can get Crespo going, that's massive because I don't see goals for massively. Brozek and Collins really dropped off with goals last couple of seasons, haven't they? I know
Well, I mean,
Collins was fantastic at wherever it was where he was scoring all them goals, and then he sort of dropped off a little bit.
Crespo's had a bit of a bad rep for not scoring goals, and in total, as you can see from the history, he hasn't. However, if you take the Super League as its own thing, he is only 2 away from matching his best season in the Super League for any team.
Yeah, but he got half of them last week.
This is true, but it's the collective what he offers over a season, surely.
Yeah, definitely. But I still think if you've got Crespo up front, you want double figure goals out of him, and you want in playoffs, and they haven't had double figures out of him, and therefore haven't had playoffs. I think it's as simple as that. If he does start scoring like 14, 15 goals, they will be in the playoffs because look at that 4 in DMC, them 2 centre halves. They're solid. They haven't had a goal scorer ever.
The worrying news for Halls in this one is that the away side haven't lost in the last 4 games of this particular fixture.
Yeah, forget about shit like that. It don't mean anything, does it?
Some people think it means a lot. Let's have a look at Bostock then, who, as we were talking off air, and as I've been saying for a number of weeks, have been in incredible form of late. I mean, the draw I said when we looked at Dragons earlier, they were perhaps a little bit lucky to get the draw, but which ruined their impressive winning run of was it 5 or 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 6 games, but still means they're 7 unbeaten.
Yep, and it's the goals against column, isn't it? They don't let many in.
Correct.
So you instantly become hard to beat. Even if your forwards have an off day, you're still going to fancy getting that 0-0 and getting a point. He's doing a good job. He's got a real mixture of sort of experience, bit of youth in there.
And also adopting his formation, and both managers actually had the same idea for this one.
Yeah, so this will probably be a bit of a game of chess, for it, a bit of a stalemate, maybe.
I did see Scott in the chat earlier, so I presume he's still about. I don't know if he had Scott. If you are about, if you got anyone in particular you want to be captain, or just let the game decide while Hodgie finishes previewing your team.
Whichever striker does it for me. Whichever striker turns up.
Yeah. Although, as you say that, Tato comes straight in with a 0-0. Speaking of strikers, we've all been talking for a number of weeks about Anelka and the job Scott's doing with him.
Yeah, that's a return that you want out of any centre forward, let alone one that's impossible to fucking handle. You know, to have a 9 in 12 from any Super League centre forward, you're doing a good job. To do it with an Elka, it's like fucking hell, well done.
And when you look at the attacking midfielders, he is still due, as Steve points out in the chat. Del Piero, the transfer still to go through. And I think he would have he would probably replace Keane, I would imagine. And you would argue that would look a little bit stronger yet still.
Yeah, I'm not a Del Piero fan, if I'm honest. I'm not a Keane fan after season 1.
Okay.
So I'd be playing 2 in there anyway, I think. Doing something else. Well, he's got Lee Bowyer to come back, hasn't he? I'd imagine he probably reverts to 2 and plays Bowyer.
This is true. Once Bowyer's back. Andre, who replaces the suspended Alefa takes the captain's armband then. Alf saying 1-1, Steve saying 2-2. So again, a lot of draws being predicted. What's yours for this one, please?
I'm going to go 1-0. 1-0 Pools, because Crespo's going to score.
1-0 Halls because Crespo's going to score, and his chances of scoring may have significantly improved with Decor having to go off the pitch inside 15 minutes. Phil Neville, the obvious replacement, but would you leave him in there or maybe move him out to the left and bring young Pio in central?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't like all them lefties then, though, in that DMC. What does the... Oh, yeah, he's a goalkeeper, of course. Yeah, he's got to be Phil Neville here, isn't it? Or maybe, yeah, he's got to be Phil Neville.
Well, that's the obvious change, but Scott didn't reply on the... there we go, Neville and swap with Lee Young-Pyo. There he is. So, as we suggested. So, do you think... I mean, I've had this conversation with a few people when this kind of thing's happened before. Having that amount of left-footed players in the centre of the pitch, does that worry you if your team would have to do it? Do you like to have a right and a left?
No, it doesn't. It don't worry me. I mean, if I play Soricinski and Van Bronckhorst plays on the left because he's left-footed, but I wouldn't be thinking, oh fucking hell, they're both left-footed. It wouldn't worry me, but I will play them the right way around if I got to do that. Yeah.
Well, we're approaching half-time. Halls look to have done... Oh, and Crespo has scored just before half-time. I was about to say Halls looked the more likely of the two. And just on half-time, Crespo scores his 4th in 2 games. Wow, Bostock creating nothing in a game. I mean, the two similar formations clearly cancelling each other out, but Halls are the team to break through, and with their one shot on target, Crespo doing what he's paid the big money for.
Yeah, Jens going to be licking his lips now and thinking, I finally got him going. Here we go. Let's charge up to that 6. I think Bostock are probably just missing it's in their engine out of the lead ball. He gets some ticking, he gets everything going.
Absolutely. When Halls are good, Kandaya is normally very good, and that seems to be the case again today. Although Brozek and Collins both lacking in real impact in the first half.
Yeah, I don't know if they're both going to be able to play in there. I think it might be one or the other.
One or the other, indeed. Well, Jens is keeping it as is. Tato makes a very good point. Bostock have been absolutely decimated with absentees. But those ratings are very un-Bostock like, and already making the changes, Scott, before I'd even clicked on the stats, he's bringing Vincente on for Gonzalez and swapping with Keane. So like that. Do you think that'll have much of an impact, if anything?
Well, Gonzalez wasn't doing particularly bad, was he? But no, they need something different, I suppose. They've not created anything, so a bit like what Jamie did with the Dragons. It's just let's try something different. Then at least
And
you can't say we didn't. Yeah,
Sylvester having a particularly poor first half. I mean,
yeah, it's just one of those
he's
games.
not
I
even
think
attempted a
a little bit of
tackle.
panic.
How can a centre back not have
Because
attempted a tackle in a half of football?
he hasn't made a mistake yet.
Oh yes, I forgot your theory about defenders and pace, etc. Let's kick off the second half then, and see if the change has any effect for Bostock. Although Halls seem to have started the quickest, but there's Keane, chance goes over, Malewski goes into the book, and it's a first of the season for Brozek on the hour mark. And Halls, who had a very good time on Sunday, look to be repeating that. The 2-goal advantage means there's no point slowing this down just at the moment. And if anything, it looks like Halls are going to get a third. Piling on the pressure are the home side. Can Bostock get on the counter and cause some late drama? We've seen plenty of it already tonight. It doesn't look that way. Another yellow card and another injury. Wow. I mean, not that it matters in the 91st minute at 2-1 down, but for the bigger picture, as we already alluded to, Bostock decimated with injuries and another 2 in this game.
Yeah, but at least he's got plenty of cover at left wing back, live, and the young girl can both move out there.
I mean, Scott, do you want to just play the last minute with 10, or do you want to, I don't know, move Vincente back there and bring Harasimovic on, I suppose? Chuck the keeper on. Do you know what? We wouldn't normally, but given the nature of how far into the game we are, go on then. I'm always up for a creative license. And there is the full-time whistle. It ends to a very meek game. As we said, the formations matching up meant that they've largely cancelled each other out, but Hull's getting a deserved victory.
Yeah, they played well there.
Definitely.
2 shots on target, 2 goals. Clinical performance. Goals from the men that'll be winning, Brozek and Crespo. It's always nice when you get. I always like it when when you win a game and your goal scorers are not like defenders and shit. It's always nice when there's a couple of attackers on there. So yeah, I'd be delighted with that. Scott, I don't think he'll panic. He'll just be roll on to next week, and I think he'll probably change his formation slightly. Always maybe a few players back, hopefully for him.
Yeah, he really does need some players back. In fairness, because I can't remember how many it was, but I believe it was 4 were absent already. He was playing with 1 man less in his squad because he's waiting for the Del Piero deal to go through. Now he's got another 2 missing, plus any suspensions that might have come through, any yellow cards, which we can have a look at shortly. But let's have a look at the victorious Hull squad. 2 wins in a row now for them. Agat's having a decent debut. Kandaya and Campbell, the 2 linchpins of this squad. Malewski continues.
Malewski's grafted in there, hasn't he, today?
He has very, very hard. I mean, that's what 30 out of 37 passes, 10 out of 17 tackles won, 4 of them key as well. He's winning headers. It's a very good performance.
Yeah, I like Malewski. He never really lets you down. one of those guys you can be sort of like. I had him at Ardsley and we were shit one season, pretty much bottom of the league, but he just turned up every week, reliable.
Absolutely, and a very, very good performance. And as you say, Jens is another one who, I mean, it's hard to say because obviously I like all of you, but Jens is someone else who I'd like to see have a good run, and hopefully, 2 wins in a row now. Hopefully, he's starting to get there.
Yeah, well, he's got to make the playoffs, hasn't he? That's what he's got to do because he's had a few cracks at it now, and it's not for the excuse of having a poor team, So it's his time, I think, this year now. With it being so tight to maybe put a few wins together and get where he sort of should be.
Now, when we talk, particularly when I talk about Bostock, I say that Scott has certain players that are his players. Gonzalez is one, Jacques is one, Live has become one, and we've always said in history that Andre is one. Now, he always seems to have that one clanger that makes him get dropped, and I presume this is it again for this one.
Yeah, but the other guy, I mean, I don't know if he's got a goalkeeper injured or suspended. Because
Alephopoulos was suspended after his red card last time out.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, I reckon Alephopoulos comes back in then. It's hard to excuse a 4. It's only 2-0 as well. It's not like he's let 4 or 5 in, which makes me think that there maybe are clangers that he's letting there. You can't excuse a 4, can you? Simple as that.
No, completely agree. But congratulations, Jens, as his turnaround in form continues. I'm sure he'll be hoping it can last considerably longer. Again, it goes to the one time that Astor are playing late is the one time they keep coming up for games. Let's go to Ledisford next. Top of the list there, and again something else we were talking about off air. The job Alf's done since he came in.
Yeah, they've done well, moving up the table. And he's mixed it up a bit, hasn't he? He's swapping his players about a bit, swapping his tactics about, which is quite un-Alf. He's always been, well, he was always missed an arrow, wasn't he? Never really moved away from that. But whether it's just the players that he's got that fit that now, or whether he's totally moved away from that. But yeah, he's had a good start. He'll be happy with the way he's gone.
And the interesting one for me, understandable though, given the form, is obviously Ledisford and Gazelles were afforded additional transfers to the other clubs. He's used all his transfers, but no new players in the starting 11.
Yeah, I think that's just Alf being Alf. He likes to be a little different, and he probably just letting him get used to the surroundings and all that sort of thing. Yeah, I think I know he's got a gentleman's agreement as well with a couple of. I think staying that's who he's playing. Yeah, that's why that they're not playing the guys that they've signed from each other. So I think that's 2 of them. I personally wouldn't have done a gentleman's agreement. I'd have been like, no, they're my players, now they're playing.
Yeah, completely agree. Van Nistelrooy in recent games as well has started to score goals. That'll be huge for Ledisford. I think it was Jens suggested on Sunday that Alf might just about pull this off and get Ledisford right back in the top 6 mix. And Van Nistelrooy will be crucial if he is to pull that off, won't he?
Yeah, I mean they're not a million miles away. And it's the same stuff I always say. If you get your centre forward scoring, you're in with a great chance because there's not many that do it consistently. Where are they there? Yeah, they're 4 points off. It's nothing, isn't it?
4 points off, 6 points behind Dudley. So that gap can cut to 3 with a win here tonight. And let's just have a quick look at the past meetings. Fairly even, only 1 draw between the sides. Never, with the exception of the very first one though, never high-scoring games as such.
No, but Ledisford have never been a particularly high-scoring team.
Well, that's because their first manager, I understand, was quite defensively minded and just liked to win games 1-0.
Surely he was in charge when they won 3-0.
Let's have a look at the Dudley Hill team. Again, they have a a player waiting to come in, which should be completed in time for Sunday. But Danielson has come in. Look at this raft of transfers over the course of the season. Addo and Saviola also come in. Danielson does start, as does Saviola, playing up front with Tony.
Yeah, he loves to transfer to Steve, doesn't he? You know,
Loves it.
if you'd have said to me before tonight's show, if you'd have said, write me down 10 Dudley Hill players, I don't think I could have done it. This is just that they swap and change, and even up with his reserves, he's Claudio Ranieri. He needs to tinker, man. But, yeah, I think I've seen his transfer business. I think he's done well. Saviola and Tony's a nice partnership. I prefer one up front, but if you're going with two, it's a nice pair. That a bit of a little and large. Yeah, See, I'm just looking now and learning who he's got. I didn't realise. Good two centre halves in there. Yeah, he's got a good side. It'll be an interesting game. This could be Alf's first drop points, I think.
Okay. And so you say that. Are you backing Dudley for the win, or is it going to share?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dudley Hill 3-1.
Dudley Hill 3-1. I have seen a couple of other predictions. Alf saying that his side will win 2-1. Tato saying 3-0 to Dudley. Let's kick off and see which way it does go. And it's the yellow and blues versus the blue and yellows to really do wonders for the eyes. Both sides.
There it is. Yeah, it's Dave. Just Leadersford fans singing my name as usual.
Because they know you're in the studio.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all. Oh, it's a penalty. It is a penalty. Luca Toni scored. I was literally about to say almost nothing has happened in this first half. As we'd approached half time, it's not a particularly long bar. Let's see what the penalty was awarded for. Jeff Palmer loves a bit of controversy. Saviola moved
Yes.
upfield with the ball. He continued and carried on going. Looked to go past Kivu, who made a sliding tackle but took the man rather than the ball. It says it was a dubious decision. I think that's more of a definite penalty than the one we saw earlier tonight, where he just backed into him. But there we go. And at half time, it is 1-0 to Dudley. Leadersford had created a couple more chances, but both with equal on target. Dudley just converting their one big chance.
Yeah, it seemed a pretty non-eventful even half up until that penalty. I don't think Alf will be panicking and changing too much. I think unless somebody's standing out there, nah, look, he's not going to be too disappointed there. I think they'll roll the dice again at half time as he is, and hope that Ronaldinho and Van Nistelrooy probably got something in him to get him a goal.
No, definitely agree with that assessment. As for Dudley Hill themselves, pretty solid away performance, really, especially against an informed team.
Yeah, he's going to be happy with that. 1-0 up, clean sheet away from home. Again,
Sorry, carry on.
Key passes are all that's there. I don't think there's been too much in this. Really, I think it's been a bit of a midfield battle, separated by a dubious Jeff Palmer penalty.
Indeed, certainly has been a war of attrition. We'll just wait for both managers to confirm if they want to make any changes. Jens is trying to make the change and has actually got it right. Jens has said Samak for Nicky, please. What I said every other match season 1, and then Alf comes in, new signing Samak for Nicky Ferenko, please. So here comes the debutant, whereas Steve goes as is. Do you think bringing Samak will make a much difference for Leadersford?
Well, yeah, it's not the Nicky Ferenko we all know, is it? He's broken.
He's broken.
Yeah.
Oh, Dudley come forward, but foul. Oh, and it is a debut goal for Samak. What a change by Alf. And now they come forward again, and it's 2. It's Ronaldinho. And Leadersford have turned this around double quick. 2 goals in 4 minutes. And now looking for a third. And what a 20 minutes we could have here. Saviola it was with the chance, but saved. But there was no follow-up. And now Leadersford coming forward again. And Dudley, end-to-end stuff this second half seems. But do Dudley have it in
Yeah,
the
it's like
treat time?
definitely livened up, isn't it?
And a diving header by Saviola, but puts it wide. And now here come the home side again. Oh, and he's got a second goal. The substitute from 20 yards. And unbelievable scenes at the Jaguar XJ8 Stadium.
I bet Alf's kicking himself he hadn't done Mystery Man here with C-Mac.
Ronaldinho was offside as the home side came forward again. Steve must be thinking, what has happened here? Because they looked fairly comfortable. And just it's gone from bad to worse as Kaladze, who had been performing very well, picks up an injury in the last minute.
I think he's just been a case of Leathersford just didn't get going, and then they've gone in at half time. Alf's give them a bit of a kick up the backside, and they've come out as they've been sort of like the last few weeks, really.
Can you see Alf giving the hairdryer treatment?
Yeah, I reckon so. Yeah, I reckon he can. I reckon he could go pretty fucking mental.
Steve following the trend of the night with a last minute injury, putting the goalkeeper on.
Just bringing the league into disrepute.
Absolute scenes in the Super League tonight. Dudley have scored. Saviola made it 3-2 in injury time, but Leathersford held on with 1 minute to go. And another win for Alf. And a deserved win when you look at those stats. What a second half.
Yeah, and look at them shots as well, because before Dan decided to leave his position, he was sort of really struggling with getting shots, and that's one thing that this Leathersford side don't struggle with. They've always having sort of double figure shots.
No, absolutely. Let's have a look at the stats then. And it is the hero off the bench who picks up man of the match. But just look at those ratings throughout the team. What a performance that's turned out to be.
Yeah, he just needed to get Nikiforenko off. Look at him. 5-8. He's shit. Get rid of him. Give us Mystery Man here a go. He was pretty decent at Ulls, wasn't he, if I remember? I don't think he set the world alight, but he was sort of did all right in the few chances he got. No.
That first season he got a few assists, but other than that, he never did anything in his couple of appearances.
Yeah, it was season 1 I remembered, but to be fair, I thought he was better than that. So yeah, ignore me and just play the broken Nikiforenko.
Evening Rocks, who's come in with a lot of comments there and a lot of discussion points for people, whereas Maka is questioning the integrity of the victorious manager here this evening. Let's have a look at the Dudley Hill team. Zanetti, and also, like I say, Kaladze before his injury had put in fine performances. Rustico was just as good as well, really. Luca Toni having a decent performance. Saviola and Danielson on their debut doing all right as well. It wasn't too bad overall, was it?
No, it was too nice. Should have played his players he'd signed. That's what he should have done. Too nice, Steve.
Too nice. Yes, you think if the gentleman's agreement hadn't been in place, maybe it would have been a different result for Dudley.
I'm not saying that because if I'm totally honest, I don't even know who the players are. But, no, if you're signing players to play in your first team, you play them. Alf's obviously got a side he's happy with, and he's then just said, "I tell you what, mate, I don't fancy playing against my players, so don't play him." And Steve's gone, "Yeah, all right, yeah, I'll have some of that."
We've got a huge penultimate fixture here at the bottom of the table as 12th place Churchtown entertain 14th placed Gazelles. I would argue a much more important game for Gazelles than it is for Churchtown, just to stay in the hunt to not finish bottom. Dimble's mixed it up a little bit this time round, largely to do with his new players. You can see Brujink and Salas both start, which I think is slightly harsh on Hussein, who doesn't even get a place on the bench. Luke Chadwick, who I've been championing every time he's played and has got a very, very healthy average rating, he only gets a place on the bench. But it does look quite strong by Churchtown, doesn't it?
Yeah, be interesting to see what Brujink can do because I think there's a few of us now that have had a go with him. And he's not done anything anywhere.
I'm a fan.
In Super League or just in general?
Both.
Right.
I
Yeah,
think
you
I
did all
think
right with him, didn't
the
you? You got him going. Nobody else has.
I think there is definite potential there. I think you took him from my team when you were looking for someone to play that position, but it didn't quite happen. I
He
would
was
argue
really
he was
fucking bad.
grossly mismanaged at Loco, and I hope that Dimble can reinvigorate him and make him the Devil's Brugink again.
He's got to be better than Santa Cruz, I think, in there. I think Dimble sort of struggled with personnel to get the AMCs going.
And what about Salas up
Worth
front?
a
Is he
shot.
the answer?
Um, he's worth a go. He's worth a go in. He's not. I'm not a massive fan of him, but again, I've never somebody who I've had a lot of because he's no, he's not somebody I've managed too much. But there's a few names in there that you look at and you think, yeah, they're good players, but they don't do it in the Super League, do they?
Correct.
And Dimble,
Head-to-head
he's got to
records
prove everyone.
head-to-head records dead level. The home side have won the last 4 of these fixtures. And interestingly, the last 3 have been 1-0. But I know you don't really read too much into that at all.
Especially now because it's a totally different Gazelles team lineup manager.
Well, let's have a look at that totally different Gazelles, who themselves have one player still to sort. And this is what Martin has come up with, doing a fair bit of business himself. He said he wanted to improve, particularly the midfield areas. So he's got Juninho starting, he's got Hersey starting, Sagnol as well at right back. What do you think that they're an improvement on what was there? I mean, last time out it was Karagounis, Smertin, and Panardi with Deco, and now it's Bastuk, Deco, and Hersey with Juninho.
Yeah, it's different names. Whether they'll do anything different, and I like Hersey. I'm probably preferring more out wide. I mean, I'd just paint by numbers. Play the two at the back because the two guys that you're playing at fullback are better playing further forward.
We know
And we
that
all historically two at the back works.
we mentioned it earlier, but Barthez, another one of the signings, he starts tonight. That could be a crucial signing for Gazelles, I think.
Yeah, that's a good signing there. Solid goalkeepers are hard to come by. As we've seen tonight, we've seen a couple of wild ones thrown in. Barthez is as steady as they come. I was surprised Greasy let him go. He's always a bit of a favourite, wasn't he? And he was
Yeah.
the captain there, so I was surprised by that one. But yeah, it's a good signing for Martin.
Certainly mixes it up, I would say.
Yeah, I quite like this from what he's got. It's not a bad side. I would just like to see maybe more so Eddie, or however you say it, needs to be further up. But he's so influential attacking, and yet he's just shackled back at left back.
Alpha's already gone with a 1-1 prediction. What are you going for the penultimate one of the evening?
Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for one apiece.
You're going 1 apiece as well. Well, let's find out if you and Alpha are correct. Toe Madeira is up front for Gazelles today. Churchtown scoring. It's Brugink on his debut. I say, and no disrespect to Martin, but I say with a slight smile on my face because it's always nice to see him on the score sheet. And Churchtown is actually looking to double their lead, I would say, as we just passed the half-hour mark. Gazelles do come forward with a chance, but don't convert. And there's another chance for Churchtown. And another one. And there is the half-time whistle. It is 1-0 to the home side, the early Arnold Brugink goal. Gazelles not creating anything. It was Dragons earlier that were the same, if I remember correctly. Very good first half performance, though, by Churchtown.
Yeah, they'll be happy with that. That's the third Saturday at Bostock as well at half time. They'd not created anything.
That's right, yeah.
But if you Dimble, you probably wouldn't be 2-0 up there, right? You know, they've created nothing and you've had 5 shots, you've been quite dominant. You sort of like to have maybe that extra goal for a bit of security. But no, he's going to be happy with that. He's AMC and his centre forward with an 8 there. That's
I was going to say, and so
he's done well.
Eight's on debut, and crucially, because we were talking about, I think it was Haggis earlier, where the shots were coming from. All 5 of their first half shots have been by the 2 players he would have wanted to be hitting them.
Yeah, that's it. He's obviously getting the ball in the right areas, and be delighted with that. Mendes de Silva as well with an 8 in there, though it seems a bit of a generous 8. He's not done. He's done half his tackles, I suppose.
Dimble going as is, and it looks like being another difficult night for Martin. Barthez pulling out an 8 on his debut. The Deco experiment, how much longer can that last, do you think? He's in a different position this time round, but still not impressing in the centre of the park. There's a lot of low ratings throughout, though, isn't there?
Yeah, but what do you do if you don't play Deco? Who do you play? Pinardi's been a bit hit and miss. Gaetan seems to always come on or start but never stay on in the previous regime. So I think it's a little bit of he's just sort of playing me with the hand is dealt.
Looking at the bench while Martin decides, what changes might you be making here?
I don't know. I'd bring whoever his favourite on of Pinardi and Gaetan for Deco.
Well, as you say that, he does confirm Pinardi on for Deco. Do you think it will have much of an impact? I mean, he's got to be able to offer more than the 0 they've created so far, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'd have probably played either up to midfield or something, game more involved.
Okay. Well, let's kick off the second half as the substitute is made. And it is 2-0 and it's Brujink again. The debutant now on a hat-trick. And wow, all of the second half went by with nothing happening. We went from 48 minutes to 87 minutes in 0 seconds flat. Churchtown looking to wrap it up for third in injury time. It doesn't come. But all in all, I mean, Gazelles created a chance. That's literally all you can say about the Gazelles' performance. Churchtown, deserved winners. They got their 2 goals. I think Dimble's going to be absolutely delighted, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. The 2 guys he brought in up top did the job. Brujink, it was the Devils. Brujink. Are they the first goals he scored since he left you?
Yeah. No, he got 1 for Loco earlier this season.
That'll have been 90th minute, won't it? That'll be stoppage time. Dirty goal. Yeah, he should have been delighted with that. You say you bring a player in, you play him up front, playing AMC, the co-com slugs him off a bit and he scores 2 and gets another match.
As for Gazelles, it's been a difficult and results wise it's been a largely terrible start for Martin. I can see he's already put there the 4 at the back legacy's going to have to go. With that result, obviously they lost to Hulls on Sunday as well. Is that them already confirmed bottom, do you think, at the halfway point of the season?
I wouldn't say they confirmed bottom yet. There's a lot of football to be played. Again, I say the 4 of the back's got to go. I mean, personally, I wouldn't play it, but I wouldn't say so much it's got to go. I would just say, looking at that, you've got, for me, there's one player that stands out in that lineup and get him a little bit further forward. Still play a 4. Just get him further forward. His numbers to play higher up the pitch, and we've seen him with assists before. And Ryan got him going that time at Bolton in 2 seasons. He's one of the best in the league when he gets going. You've got to play to your strengths, haven't you? I think at the minute, with the way Gazelles are, they've not got too many strengths. But he is a standout player for them as they do, and I would definitely be getting him further forward. Putting the balls in the box.
Ian Edwards saying in the chat, a couple of teams with some good windows getting good results in terms of Hulls and Churchtown tonight, and I have to say I'm inclined to agree with him.
Yeah, it shows it works, doesn't it? Transfer window works.
And that brings us neatly to the final game of the night as you travel to Astor. And I mean, I mentioned Brujink. I'm delighted to say that Mido's finally made the matchday squad, as he gets sub 4 for this one. But you, who notoriously do very, very little business. I mean, we saw the Dudley bar. This is your entire season's business. I mean, that's some business, by the way. You have got Thierry Henry in during this recent window.
Yeah, I tried to. I made a little play for him when he was at Northern Burn, and I'd missed him. He'd already gone. And Taylor just came to me and said Emerson for Henri, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Emerson's been a little bit hit and miss. One week he's great, one week he's poor. Henri just adds that bit of cover up top as well as in the AM.
Well, let's face it,
And
you need it because Mpenza only lasts about 60 minutes before he's out for 5 games.
yeah, he does. He always scores. Can't knock him. He got 5 in 7 this season. So even if we could just sort of wrap him up in cotton wool and use him when we're in the bigger games, we could sort of utilise him now because we have got other options.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, it all depends on how Henri goes. But yeah, he's a player. I'm not a massive fan of him on the game, but he comes over. He's sort of like my second or third choice centre forward, and he's not even played. I'm as the main man in the AMC, so there's not a massive load of pressure on him. I'm not signing him, and he's got to be hitting sort of like 6 or 7 goals in the running. He's just a solid player coming into the squad for a guy who was maybe struggling a little bit.
Are you slightly concerned that the legacy of Devils never having lost to Astor may come in at some point?
No,
No.
sure, no. No, because you did you play Tato's Asta? You ought to play
I
Tato's
never
Asta.
played Tato's Astor, no.
Yeah, different breed, mate. Different breed.
Let's have a look then at Tato's Astor, another manager who's done some big business. We can already see there, like some Michael Owen, you mentioned there, Emerson coming in as well, among others. And this is what he is using tonight. Rayed, the skipper, in the advanced attacking midfield position. ZZ Roberts and Michael Owen up front. Vredos, who's been largely excellent this season. And the diminutive figures of Scally and Good Johnson, they're behind Emerson. They're a tough one to break down potentially.
Yeah, it's a good side. I think Emerson coming in there in the MC gets to play in his more natural position, which I haven't been able to do because I've always favoured Ferguson, so that should suit him. He's got 2 good attacking wide men. Yeah, it's a good side. Izzy Roberts obviously always does a job for him. Rayad is a player who he has a lot of faith in and seems to enjoy being the captain. So yeah, it is a good side. It's maybe missing the standout star men that some other sides have got, but collectively it's a really strong side.
I'd never ask the managers to predict their own games, but I will just ask before I hit kick off how confident you are of either a win or a positive result.
Yeah, I mean, if we can keep on playing as we have been the last few weeks, we should be able to be somewhere within a shout of a win from 90 minutes. But anything less, and yeah, there's danger that we could drop points.
Okay. Well, let's kick off the final game of the evening then. And Devils take an early lead, and it's that man you said, the man whose shirt I'm wearing tonight, Barry Ferguson, with the goal. And that's just the start you were after, the complete opposite of what Tato would have wanted to see. Although they are coming forward themselves, looking for an equaliser, and everyone's just laying it off for each other. No one's actually daring to shoot. That's not a problem at the Devils. Everyone's willing to shoot for them. And that half flew by very quickly, but you go into halftime, Hodgie, with a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, happy with that. Early goal sort of settles them nerves a little bit, doesn't it? Tackles 1% is low, headers one's low. But we're up on a scoreline, so yeah, I can't be too critical at half time.
Well, we'll have a look at Astor first then. Given that you've got the live feed and Tato has to read it all online before reacting. Emerson not exactly impressing against his former side.
Oh, but it's early days. I mean, he's on a 6 and he's got a yellow, so is he on a 7 without that yellow, which isn't bad at 1-0 down, I suppose. It's 45 minutes of football left to go. I wouldn't be too worried with anything on there.
Oh, he is bringing ZZ Roberts off at half time for Rossini. Do you think that'll make much difference?
Yeah, he's rock solid diamonds, isn't he? I always say he's rock solid diamonds. He's receiving his shite or brilliant. So
As for Devils, there is a second sub to make for Asta shortly. As for Devils, as I click over to their stats, um, it's good without being exceptional. Is that fair?
yeah, it's workmanlike, is what I'd call it. If that's 0-0, I'm disappointed, but it's not. So we'll stay as we are, and hope we can push on it.
You're going to stay as you are. The second sub, Owen off for Donovan and so Michael Owen, who left Fulchester in the hope of actually seeing 90 minutes, is getting his traditional pull at half time. So the double attacking change for Asta.
It's fit.
Eh?
Keeps him fit, doesn't it? He's
Well,
only ever playing 45 minutes.
Indeed, it keeps him fit. Devils it is who look to have started slightly the brighter as we reach the hour mark, but here come Asta, have a couple of set pieces. Asta still very much seem in this, and if Devils don't get a second, you wouldn't put it past the home side to nick an equaliser, although a shitload of time went past there again. It seems to be a recurring theme tonight that large chunks of time, particularly in the second half, go past. But we've also had a couple of late drama. We've got another one here, Rossini, but it goes over. We're now into injury time. Emerson picks it up and sends his new side on the way again. Another header goes flying wide. And there is the final whistle. And Barry Ferguson's early goal was enough to settle this one. Not exactly a classic Super League game, but certainly a classic Hodgie game.
Yeah, we're fucking boring, aren't we? We really are fucking boring.
You've ruined what I built.
Yeah, it's like you were the fucking big roller coaster to watch, and we're like the fucking little paddle boats across the lake, aren't we? Yeah, but it's look at the league table. People are struggling to beat us.
Well, I think I just
Um,
need to go back. I think it was Jens posted at half time that should you go on to win, which obviously you have, you're now 7 points clear of second on game 14. That's unreal, really.
yeah, it is. It's good. I like it. I'm enjoying it. I just would like to see a little bit more. I think Astor were a little bit more dominant. I think in that second half. To be fair, we didn't really do a lot, and they sort of huffed and they puffed, and they didn't really get anything, which seems to be a recurring thing that we just sort of nick games 2-1 or 1-0
That's what you
without
said in
no
the very start of the show, to be fair, pals. Tato in
yeah,
the chat
without no disrespect.
Tato in
It
the chat
didn't
passes on his
really.
congratulations. Says that you were relentless
Yeah,
again. He felt that his side had put a bit of pressure on, but 0 shots on target is pathetic. And Jens has done a quick revision and says you're actually going to be 8 points clear when we look at the league table, not 7. Neil Scally picking up man of the match, and it is quite a good performance by him against, he would have been up against the likes of Barry Ferguson in that midfield, completed 37 of his 45 passes, 8 out of 12 tackles as well. Very decent performance. Day continues to be a very capable goalkeeper at this level as well. I mean, if these players had put in a similar performance against someone other than the current Devils side, they might have perhaps even got a point out of this, mightn't they?
yeah. I mean, the only thing I think Turtle's going to be pretty annoyed that he's out and out 9. Roberts and then Rossini, they didn't do anything, and you think if they can take that 6 to 7, do they nick a goal and then take a point?
Yep.
Possibly, but yeah, it was. It felt as though they threw everything at us in the second half, but I never really panicked without sounding a twat.
No, I understand where you're coming from. Some slightly lower ratings when we look at your side from players who perhaps you'd expect more from. Kuhl's normally a bit more effective than he was today. Aymar as well. Thierry Henry doing reasonably well on his debut. Kesman continues to be an able deputy, although he's not exactly been in the goals, has he? Only 2 so far this season, and it's not like he's lacking in appearances with Mpenza constantly being injured.
Yeah, I would like to see a couple more goals from him, in all honesty. But he's putting the performances in, he's doing a job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's got an assist for him. Yeah, he got an assist last time out as well. So he's sort of linking the play up.
Contributing.
Yeah.
Let's go through the classifieds then and look at the table. So we had Aston 0, Devils 1, Churchtown 2, Gazelles 0, Dragons 0, Burn 1. We had that incredible first game of the night, the 3-3 between Fulchester and Sloths. Hulls beating Bostock 2-0, Leddersford 3, Dudley 2. That was a good game as well. And Loco 2, Haggis 2. That leaves the league looking like this then. So your top, Hodgie, as Jens says, 8 points clear at the top already. By far the top goal scorers in the league. And, I'd called you out a little bit in terms of your defensive record at the start of the season, but you're now very much in line with everybody else. Bostock remain second on 26. Northern Burn getting that big win tonight, move up to 24. Fulchester a point further back, 23. Dudley and Astor still in the top 6 themselves on 21 and 19 respectively. And then just look how tight this remains. So Astor in 6th on 19. Then you've got Loco and Leddersford. Alpha's got within 1 point of the top 6 now. And then Hulls, Jens saying that they've had no chance to playoffs. They're only 2 points outside of it. They're in Churchtown on 17 points apiece. Then you've got Haggis and Dragons on 16 points. They're only a win outside the dotted line. Sloths in 13th are only 5 points. You wouldn't say they're out of it. Gazelles conceded 30 goals. It's and still only 1 win this season. It's you would say that obviously the top 6 dream is over for them, and it's looking very. It's going to take a bit of a battle from Martin here to get back off the bottom of the table, though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's going to need a real run. And in what we've seen, you can't really see where it's going to come from, in all honesty. But keep plugging away, trying different things. Pressure's off now, I think. So you can try different stuff, can't you, and see what works and what doesn't.
I mean, when you're so comfortable at the top, and I don't want to come across like I'm blowing smoke, obviously, but when you're this comfortable at the top of the table at this stage, Hodgie, can you sort of sit back and just enjoy basically the battle between? I mean, let's go as far and say between Dudley in 5th, and we could go as far as Sloths in 13th. It is that tight.
Yeah, I think what's been important for us last few weeks is that we've been winning, and the other sides in the 6 have been dropping points. I mean, even tonight, only Burn won. Fulchester drew, Dudley got beat, Astor got beat, Bostock got beat. So we're always, as much as we're winning, we keep adding them points on.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I won't be doing anything stupid or anything. Trying new formation. Like, we'll just keep going. We've not had a bad run yet. We're under no illusions that I could go and lose the next 3 or 4 and maybe start panicking a little bit and fucking changing things up and playing wingers, and you don't know what's going to happen. But as it stands, yeah, I mean, we probably won't win off the playoffs after 14 games. I think maybe.
Is that going to be the quickest
wins,
anyone got to that figure?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but yeah, what all we're doing is just putting a side out to try and win a game, and we're winning the games, but we're not winning them massively convincingly.
Well,
I don't think there's anything that people will be looking at. Fucking hell, I don't want to play Devils next week.
Well, someone who certainly
special.
won't be saying that they don't want to play Devils is Alf, because he's on an incredible run, and we mentioned it again off air before we started. Your next game on Sunday at home to Leddersford. Are you slightly concerned given the form Alf's found?
No,
No, you're quite confident.
I'm not saying I'm going to win. But if we get beat 2-0, it's not going to bring any panics. I'm not concerned about that. I won't prepare any differently because Alf's won his last 4.
There are
It is what
there
it
are
is.
some excellent looking games, for those who weren't there for the announcement. I'm pleased to say that Rob, Mr. Sloth, has already agreed to do comms on Sunday, so this could be good. And he's got a very tasty looking game at home to Dragons himself, 13th versus 12th. But we know with how tight the table is, positions, with the exception of yourself and Gazelles, positions really mean nothing at this point. But Bostock versus Fulchester, that could be a cracker. Churchtown Halls both winning tonight and winning well. That could be a very good game. Dudley Loco, again, that could be a very good game between a team just inside the top 6 and just outside. Haggis Gazelles is arguably the most nothing game of the night, if you like. Burn Aster, 2 teams inside the top 6.
That's
So
not that's not that's not the point I'm making again. It's like if you look 2nd to 7th all play each other, so at least 3 of them are going to drop points. So if we can win again, we pick 3 points up on 3 of them, or if they draw, you're picking up on 2 in one game. So
yep.
it's the fixtures are falling nice. Was all on that thing as if we finally do, we do get beat. Not everyone's picking points up on us. So
And I
the
think
fixtures falling quite kind for us at the minute.
I think what's crucial, and obviously we don't know what the game engine has in store, but you'll notice that today in the game is the 22nd of December. The winter break sets in now because the next round of fixtures is not till the 8th of January. So particularly if you're looking at, say, a Bostock, they could have a number of players back again.
Yeah, and how many times is Emil and Penza going to get injured in that?
He's going to come back and get injured twice in that fortnight.
Loads of times. But no, yeah, it's a good point. Same with Greavesy. I don't know how long Montella and Zambrotta are out for, but they weren't going to be back within the week because they were red injuries. So I'm sure Greavesy will be glad to see that because he's just outside the playoffs and he's playing Dudley Hill, who are on a bit of a wobble. So Greavesy would be one of my picks to make the 6.
Okay.
He'll be looking forward to getting them guys back.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure as always having you on, Hodgie. Thank you very much for taking time out of your Thursday night to come on. Congratulations on the win and the season so far. Any final thoughts from you before we conclude for the evening?
No, I just want to say I didn't really get a chance to say it earlier on Unlucky Tato. I think a little bit hard done by there. Good performance, mate. And yeah, that's about it, really. Well done to everybody that won. Unlucky to everybody that lost. And see you on Sunday.
There were a couple of comments throughout which I forgot to pass on. I'm not sure if you had the chat up on a separate device, but I think Jens in particular said that it was a great listen having you on co-coms, and I have to agree, I always enjoy it when you're on. Tato saying quality comms that from Hodgie. Ryan and Jens again putting good show and great show. So thank you very much for your time. Again, Super League Sunday. Everything should run to plan. There may be an announcement that the show starts half an hour later, as I am due to be going out on Sunday evening. But I plan on making sure that's done in time to be back so that Super League is unaffected. But if there is a half-hour delay, I'll make sure that everyone knows in plenty of time. Apart from that, again, thank you, Hodgie. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Always great reading your comments. And from 5 feet at Super League HQ, a very, very good night.